guys. Welcome back to season 1, episode 3 of the Scripts and Screens podcast. I am your host, Imani Nicole.
And I'm Ashana Robinson.
And welcome back, guys. We're going to just jump right into it. Ashana, how was your weekend?
It was good. Didn't do much. Finally got my hair done, so I had to
Yes,
be
it's
wearing
so
that bun.
cute.
Thank you. But it was pretty chill. How was yours?
It was good. I went to the winery with a few girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. And Stafford. And then I also watched the game. I wanted the Bills to win, but the Chiefs ended up winning. So now it's Chiefs versus Raisins. Goodness gracious. It is the Chiefs versus the Ravens. And I'm hoping the Ravens go all the way.
Oh, I did see this article. It was written by a person, less melanated, of course. And it was like the swag surf. Details into the viral dance that Taylor Swift and Donna Kelsey were doing.
Now, on that note,
that was my Cat Williams sip that drink.
That is crazy. Are you serious?
Article, yes. Swag serve. Details into the viral dance that Taylor Swift and Donna Kelsey were doing. I think it was Donna Kelsey. Isn't that her name? The Kelsey mama?
That is her name. And that there's not one melanated employee that didn't correct that article. Like, hey guys, we probably shouldn't run with this because people were swag surfing when Taylor Swift didn't even know what
That's what I'm saying.
A swag surf was.
Right. Yeah, I did see that. And I'd
like to see the video because I know they won't hit it right.
You already know. You already know.
I know they weren't hitting it right. Not the way we used to be a Hanson.
No. Especially not no Donna Kelsey. Taylor maybe got a little something, maybe.
I don't think Taylor got it.
I don't know. They're probably like that one song she got with Future. What is it? Future and Ed Sheeran.
She has a song with Future?
Girl, that's my favorite Taylor Swift song. That is my favorite Taylor Swift song.
I didn't know.
In-Game.
Oh,
yes,
I never knew that she was had a song with Future. That really, that's different. Okay.
Yes. So she could do a little something. She's not too seasoned, but I feel like she definitely outdid Miss Donna.
Not Miss Donna. Got to be respectful. Right. She outdid Miss Donna. That is too funny. Moving into the weekly bloopers. I watched Saturday Night Live this past weekend, and it was actually really, really good. It was hosted by Jacob Elordi, and they opened it up with, of course, making fun of Trump, which they do so well. So they were talking about the primary that he had in Iowa and how he won big, and how he was and the crazy part about that was the temperatures were extremely cold. And he basically was telling people, it's okay, get up and vote. It's okay if you pass away. Like, it's going to be worth it. Like, stand in line and vote. Yeah. And they were like, oh, yeah, he encouraged everyone to do the same thing in 2020 when COVID happened. Like, don't get the shot and just, pass away. So they were making a bunch of jokes about Donald Trump and his cognitive level and Joe Biden's cognitive level and how they both probably should not be running for president.
Right.
And how when it happened the first time, nobody said, hey, let's do that again. So they started out making a bunch of jokes about that. Then Jacob Elordi once again was hosting, and Renee Rapp from Mean Girls, she had a couple bits and snippets that were really cute. So they opened up the show basically with Jacob Elordi saying, you probably know me from Saltburn if you saw it, or from all the viral clips on TikTok of Ollie basically having sex with his grave. And there's like one other SNL host was like, that movie was disgusting. And he was like, Saltburn isn't for everybody. And she's like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Kissing Booth. And it was just crazy because it's like, why is Kissing Booth catching strays?
Right.
Joey King is just, it is. And Joey King just was happy to make it. And I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit of tension with that movie I'm sure Joey King and Jacob Elordi are over it, but I feel like because they were dating, like when they met, they dated, they stayed together throughout most of it. And then I think when they finally filmed the third one, they weren't together. So it was kind of awkward because you're sitting here recording with someone that you're no longer with. But I'm sure that happens all the time in that kind of world and space. But yeah, so they made fun of a few things. So I'll touch on them. They made fun of the Cat Williams interview with Club Shay Shay. They were like, this is the extended cut. 8 hours long. And they were talking about how, like, Kat was basically saying how he came up with the slogan, Obama's slogan, and they were saying, like, all different kinds of things that he was supposed to be in Avatar. You know, he was saying he's supposed to be in all these movies. He was like, I was supposed to be in Avatar.
Oh, my God.
And then they were like, and then you remember how he was saying he read 3,000 books. He was like, I can hold my breath for 27 years. Like, they were hitting on all these different jokes. And I just thought it was so funny. And then they moved on to, like, the Golden Globes with the whole Taylor Swift and Kylie situation. And they brought in, like, professional lip readers. And Jacob Elordi was one of the professional lip readers. And they, like, showed the scene. And they're like, we can read lips. And they're just like, but they didn't do the scene with Selena and Taylor Swift. Actually, they did the scene with Kylie and Timothy. And it was just like, I love you so much. And I was like, I love you too, baby honey bun. Like, just doing it was a mess.
So lovey-dovey. They were so lovey-dovey.
But I feel like she's like that with everybody.
She is.
Like, it's like part of the brand. Like, we gotta really sell it when we're out in public. But it's like, but I guess, I don't know, I'm not in that space of reality TV of, like, everyone needing to be in my life. So I guess, like, that just comes with that territory. And then they also made jokes about Alaskan Airlines. Did you hear about that? I didn't even know about this.
Yes, the video was crazy. Like, a whole part of the airplane just, like, flew off. It's just missing.
Can you imagine being on that flight? I don't know if I'd fly again. I really don't know if I would fly again.
All I know is I would sue and have a big old check.
If they can't fly for free for the rest of their lives, then they don't have the right lawyer. Like, it was crazy. I didn't even know that happened.
Literally trauma, PTSD, anxiety. Like, I act like I couldn't even hear the word airplane without having a
scream and stop your lungs every time you hear it. It's a trigger word. That is so funny. And the way they did it was, like, they showed a video, like, you know, when you hop on a plane and they're like, you know, welcome to Delta Airlines, and they give you all the safety information. They were like, they called it Alaska Airlines. So, like, here on Alaska Airlines, safety is one of our top concerns. You know, the bolts that hold together the plane, we're going to tighten those up a bit. And it was just so funny. They were like, here on Alaska Airlines, it feels like you're in a movie. They were like, and we plan on bringing Sully out of retirement. And I was just like, this is too funny. Like, they did a really, really good job. And then one of the final really funny things that they did was, like, do you remember when you used to go bowling and they would show, like, the cartoon animations? So they did that. So, like, when Jacob Elordi rolled the ball and got a strike, they showed, like, the WGA outside with their pitchforks. And yes, they were over there showing that. And then for a split, they showed, like, two people, and the wife was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm leaving, to, like, show a divorce. Like, we are splitting, you know. And then one of the ones that they did that was, like, it was funny, but it's, like, not funny, but that's just what goes with these kind of shows.
Right.
Was Jacob Elordi rolled it and, of course, got a gutter ball. So then it shows, like, a dad in his daughter's room, and he was like, what are these? She's like, they're not mine, Dad. And he was like, what are these? And he was like, I don't want to wake up and find you with a needle in your arm in the gutter. And I was just like, this is too much. Like, this is way too much. But it was really funny, and it was really, really freaking cute. I really liked it. Yeah. And I just, it was really good. And I don't even usually watch SNL. Like, I just watched it because you had sent me the clip of Jacob Elordi being on it, and I'm a huge J.E. fan. So I was like, I have to watch this. J.E. I'm a big J.E. fan. So I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and tune in. But it was really good. I thought he did a really good job.
Enjoy him as an actor.
Me too.
Euphoria. I saw a clip where he was saying Euphoria was, like, literally his last audition before he was about to go home, because I guess he kept, like, striking out. Yeah.
Really? Before he was about to go home to Australia?
Yeah. He was about to go home. He was like, I was going to take a break, go home, see my mom. And then, yeah.
See my mom. See my mom. That is so crazy that you say that, because they actually even did a snippet in SNL where, like, I mean, clearly it's a joke, but it was opposite. It was, like, a bunch of, like, not even upcoming actors, like the people that are trying to be actors. And he comes in and they're like, you know, what advice do you have for us? And he was like, well, you what do you mean? Like, you guys audition? I didn't know that's how it works. Like, I thought the director just calls you and tells you you're in the script. And like they had like Rachel McAdams is one of the people like trying to get information, and they brought her on there, which I thought was really cool. Yes, Rachel McAdams was on there. Meg Thee Stallion was on there. She performed with Renee Rapp, because I guess there's a song in Mean Girls that has both of them in it. Yeah, and Renee Rapp can sing her butt off. She can sing her butt off. So it made me want to go see it. Like, you know what? Let me go see what it's about and see how it was. But when I was watching it, I was like, it must be so fun to be on that show. Like, can you imagine that?
Yes. Just getting paid to play around all day, joke all day.
All day long.
Life. That's got to be the life.
That's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
So if y'all see this, pick us up.
Right.
We could, give a little flair,
right.
A little interview special.
Right. I'll take some improv classes, to prepare.
Me too. I am completely open to learning. And I know they have a great HR. Like, I know they have probably the least amount of HR complaints you can have.
Mm-hmm. You already know.
Was there anything that you saw this week that you wanted to touch on?
Yes. Well, the Oscar nominations came out yesterday morning, I believe 8:30. Zazie Beetz, again, I apologize if I say her name wrong, but I know her from Atlanta. She's Van. She plays Childish Gambino's girlfriend on there. She's also in Deadpool. And Jack Quaid, again, if I mispronounced your name, I'm sorry.
He's from The Boys. Have you ever seen that?
The Boys. Oh, wait.
On Prime Video.
The superhero movie?
Yeah, it's a show, but yes.
Yes, the show. Yes, I did see that. Yes.
He's from that.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was actually good. I don't think I finished
it. It was. I haven't finished it either, but it was good. I remember being so different.
Yes,
1,000%.
Definitely a really different concept.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm just going to do a few of the categories because it's just way too many. But the actor in a leading role, the nominees were Bradley Cooper from Maestro, Coleman Domingo from Rustin, Paul Giamatti from The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy from Oppenheimer, and then Jeffrey Wright from American Fiction. Actress in the lead roles, the nominees were Annette Bening in Nyad. I don't know if I said that correctly. Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon. And if I'm not mistaken, she is the first Native American to be nominated, ever.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Sandra Hüller of Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan from Maestro, and Emma Stone from Poor Things. And then we're just going to do the overall Best Picture of the year. Nominated was American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest.
Wow.
So, yes.
A lot of good ones on there. Who are you hoping takes home? Like, out of all the ones that you've seen, or even if you haven't seen them, is there an actor that you just love that you hope takes home?
Coleman Domingo.
Yes.
I'm excited to see Rustin, which will be on our episode next week. It's on Netflix. Who else? I really enjoyed Barbie. So if that, we took one home, I couldn't be mad at that.
It's so good that you brought that up with Barbie, because I don't know if you heard, but basically it was Margot Robbie was not nominated. Like that, how you just read the Best Actress? She was not nominated, and neither was Greta Gerwig as Best Director.
That's crazy.
What's his name did get nominated though? Who played Ken?
Ryan Gosling.
Yes, thank you. Ryan Gosling got nominated, so they asked him about it, and he was like, of course I'm so honored, but he was like, I don't see how there's no Barbie without Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig, and for them to not be nominated for lead actress and best director, he felt like they should have been up there with them too.
Right.
And I thought that Ryan Gosling did a good job in Barbie, but I think he's okay with getting the win either way, but I don't think his role, I loved his role in it, don't get me wrong, but when he's done La La Land, stuff that I really loved him in that are musicals as well, I feel like he too would feel like if he didn't get it, it's not like someone else more deserving didn't get it. But if he gets it, that's awesome, but I'm just shocked that that's a recurring thing that they're doing. But I thought that was interesting that Greta Gerwig wasn't up there for Best Director. That's crazy. That's really crazy. My nose is so itchy. I don't know if there's some pollen around me. I don't know what is going on, but I'm just I can't stop. Yeah, but I thought that was really interesting though with the whole best director thing. Like, how do you not mention Greta? And I liked Barbie. I thought it was good.
So, yeah.
I thought it was really good.
It
Was
was
there anything
deeper.
else you wanted to say about those?
I don't know,
You
just
said it was
Barbie.
deeper?
Yeah, it was deeper than I expected. Like I thought it was going to be really
Yes.
fluffy, but it actually
Agreed.
had like it had themes.
I
It
agree
had
with that.
themes.
And when I was watching the trailer before it came out, I didn't even know, I couldn't tell what it was going to be about. I was
Right.
like, I seen the Barbie trailer and I don't know what I'm
Right.
looking at. I have
Exactly.
not a clue of where we're
Mhm.
going with this. So then after I watched it, I was like, oh, wow, that was actually really, really
Mhm.
good.
Mhm.
It was really good.
But
All right,
yeah,
moving
that's it.
into our watch list. We're moving into our plot and pop section.
Yes, ma'am.
The movie that we did was Self-Reliance,
Mhm.
which was one of the movies we did. We do 2 movies, you guys, in a series. So that's how our flow goes.
Mhm.
So the movie that we did was Self-Reliance. It's on Hulu. It's considered to be a comedy. It's an hour and 30 minutes. And to give you a little background on the movie, is basically Tommy receives an invitation to win $1 million by playing a game where he must outwit hunters attempting to kill him. He realizes the hunters can only attack him when he's alone, but none of his friends and family believe the game is real.
Mhm.
So the cast that's in this is played, the main guy is Tommy, who is played by Jake Johnson, which I saw you had posted on our Instagram that he's a new girl.
Yes, and he
And
also
I didn't
directed
even
the
realize
film.
that. He
Mhm.
directed Self-Reliance?
Mhm. He was one of the
Oh, I
directors.
didn't know that. Oh, good for
Mhm.
him. I love that they're a lot of times they're doing a lot of these actors turning into like they're wearing many hats. So I
Right.
love that. It also has Anna Kendrick in it, who I love from Trolls.
Mhm.
She plays Maddie. And then another gentleman called Biff Whiff. That is this man's real name on Google. I don't look it up. He plays James, and then Andy Samberg plays himself.
Mhm. That was funny.
Um, what Andy Samberg playing himself?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So, Shawnee, what is he from?
What movie is he from? Because I
I
know
was like, did
he's
he
like
play the
one of
guy in
those.
Facebook? I can't remember if he played the guy in Facebook.
He's like got one of those faces that you know.
Yes,
Let me
he
see.
definitely
Will.
does. And I was like, I think he might be from the Facebook movie, but I could be completely wrong. And if
Oh,
he isn't, I feel like he would have played that well because he could cover like that. They look alike. But yeah, I'm looking at
right.
his list and I do not see Facebook here.
Right.
I don't see
Hotel,
that.
Hotel Transylvania. Is he?
Yes,
Oh,
I love that.
I
Oh,
love
I
that
think
movie
he
too.
plays Selena Gomez character Maeve husband, but I don't remember his name.
Yes, with the red hair.
Yes, with the red hair. I
Why am
love
I just
Hotel
realizing that's
Transylvania.
Selena Gomez?
You didn't realize Maeve is Selena?
Oh my God.
Yes, Maeve is Selena Gomez.
Where have I been?
Under a rock?
I had clearly he's in That's My Boy with Adam Sandler.
Oh, okay,
That's where I
yes.
think I know him from.
Okay, okay.
Brooklyn
Yeah, I've seen
Nine-Nine.
That's My Boy. Yes, I remember that one.
Okay.
And it's got Hot Rod on here. I remember
Mm-hmm.
that briefly. And Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is him too.
Oh.
And that's a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
And so to kind of just after watching it, my question for you is would you have participated for $1 million? And would your family have believed you?
No and yes.
Really?
I don't know. I guess it would really depend on the stage of life that I was in because I feel like they were targeting people who really didn't have anything going. Like he said, he literally
Correct.
joined because he was bored. Like he had absolutely nothing going for him. I actually watched this with my family and I was like, would
Oh,
y'all
okay.
believe me? And she was like, well, it's so far fetched. They keep saying, like, because I was really frustrated the whole time that his family did not believe him. And she was like, my mom was like, well, he's been crying wolf this whole time. And I guess they're used to him, like, making up stuff. But I think I would
Yeah.
believe my brother. Like, if he was telling me somebody was trying to kill him, especially shows up with, like, a missing tooth. Like, I don't know. I feel like I would at least believe him at first. And then, of course, if we couldn't find any proof, then all right. But
Yeah.
initially, yes, it'd be strange,
Yeah.
but I would give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, because there was no premise. Like, we didn't see how his life was. Because from what you see, he just lived a very, like, black and white kind of life. He went to work, he came home. So to me, I didn't see anything that was like, he's dramatic or we can't take what he says for face value when I was watching. So I did struggle with the fact that not one family member, not one,
at all,
not one
not
family
even
member believed him.
A drop.
Not one family member. So I think I would have participated though, because to not be alone is so easy. All I have to go to is my dad's house, because if it were up to him, I wouldn't have my own place. I would be living still there. So I think I would have participated because it would be so easy for me to be around someone.
Well, he would have been in the bedroom
24/7
with you and in the bathroom and all that.
I'll bring my mom in there.
Okay.
I'll bring my mom in there.
Miss Shahida gonna save you.
Yes, I'll bring mom in there. I'll be like, Mom, come on, we gotta. But I know for a fact my mother would not believe me. She definitely would not believe me. But I think my dad would believe me. But my mom, and I think like this goes to. But like I said, they didn't premise this. But for me, I play so much that in a situation like this, it would be like, Imani, here she go playing again. Like, you know what I mean?
And I can see that.
And I thought about it. I might do this prank with my parents. I don't know when's the next time I'm going to see them. Oh, for my sister's baby shower.
I hope they don't listen to this. Don't say it.
They might not, though. My dad won't. My mom will. My dad can barely work electronics, child.
Don't do Jay. Don't do Jay.
He can barely work that smartphone he got. So, but my mom probably will watch it, but she'll help me with the joke. So maybe I'll play a joke on my dad in North Carolina and be like, you guys, I cannot go anywhere by myself. I'm gonna be at 3 a.m. like this on my dad's door.
He'll be so
Dad, I want some water. Can you come with me? He'll tell me to lay my ass down and shut up.
Yes. Like you're a child. Oh my God.
But I thought it was cute that he hired the homeless man to like follow him around, basically, which was played. His name was James, but it's played by the guy Biff with. So I really liked their relationship that developed throughout the movie.
Right.
It was very cute. What I thought was odd was that the movie was called Self-Reliance, but that doesn't really apply because he couldn't be self-reliant. Self-reliant means like you don't use other people. You use your own resources to do things. Like you don't depend on other people, but it was completely opposite of what he needed to do, which was where he had to be with another person. He couldn't just, I'm gonna just, go, I'm just gonna walk and live my everyday life and defend myself. Like, and they had some real, like the guy choked him out on the side of the it's like, that's the thing. No one realizes that even if you have to be around someone 24/7, there's always those moments where you're not.
Right.
So it was like, he literally, I think, just walked around the corner just to maybe make a phone call or something. And then he was pinned up against the wall being choked out. And this was a show on the dark web, y'all. So it wasn't like a show that was, it was like a dark web. And I do think a lot of weird stuff happens on the dark web.
You already know. I would not be surprised if this was really an actual thing, like an actual show, game show.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't either, because do you remember the movie Hostel?
I don't think so.
Where people would stay in a hostel and like people could like go on an app and like they would take a picture, like women would basically draw them out, would be, I don't know if they're prostitutes or hookers or whatever, but they would draw them out, get them really drunk, have a good night of fun, drug them. And then people would be betting on them, like on the phone. Like if they wanted you, they would pay money. So the highest bidder got you. You would wake up and you're like chained, and they could torture you any way they wanted to. And it was like really rich men that would come from all over the world, China, America, Germany, just to do this. Like it was this thing that they would do, and they would have a room for each of them to do their wildest imaginations, and they would have all these different tools of how they wanted to do it. It was, there's like 3 of them. But I believe that probably happens in real life too, where people take pictures of you and they're like, do you want this person? How much? I will get them to you. Which is scary to think of.
Yes.
Entirely scary to think of. So after watching Self-Reliance and seeing like how he was going through extreme heights to not get killed, what do you think this movie was trying to say? Like, what do you think the overall theme or themes were with this film?
The only thing I really got from the film, I don't know if that's why they named it Self-Reliance, because you said it's ironic because it's opposite of what actually happened throughout the whole movie. but it
Yeah.
definitely showed his growth as a person.
Yes.
At the end, like, 'cause, in the beginning, he was with this woman for 20 years, and then she broke up with him, and he didn't know why. Like, he would go to her house and try to knock on her door and could not do it. But then at the end of the
Yes.
movie, when he was interested in Anna Kendrick's character, Maddie, he was able to go to her house, assert
Yes, I
himself
saw
and knock on
that.
the door. Um, so I don't know. As for your question, I'm not really sure.
But I agree with that. I saw that too.
Yeah,
I agreed with I thought that it was facing your past trauma.
possibly, yes.
Because then he had the conversation, like you brought up him going to his ex's house finally. Then he
Mhm.
even had a conversation with his dad, who
Right,
had abandoned him. One day they were playing video
right.
games and like he never saw him again. So
Mhm.
then he had the conversation with his dad. And so I was like, yeah, it's giving a theme of like just facing like your life is
Right.
so much better when you just relieve yourself of these burdens.
Mhm.
Because yes, you can convince yourself that you're fine, but really he lived a life that was very lonely. Like, yes, of
Right.
course, I think he lived with his mom, and the agreement was as long as he had a job, he could live there. But clearly, he must have not lived there before. Like, he was doing well when he's
Right.
with other people. So I think it's kind of like you're meant to live life with other people. And even though a relationship doesn't work out, don't give up on relationship. Just because the relationship with your dad is shaky, fix it, or at least,
Mhm.
try to. So I think that was the theme, was like facing your
Right.
past trauma and no regrets. So like he went up
Right.
to now, do you think Maddie opened the door?
I think she did.
I do too.
I think
But
she
do you
did.
think she decided to be with him romantically after that?
I think so, yes.
Me too, because my whole thing was like, girl, he wrote on I don't remember if it was a Craigslist ad or what it was,
And
or
she
if she
responded.
just reached out to him and saw him on that web. But it's like, you can't really judge him for believing in a game when you literally thought that she was like, oh, I thought this was just some type of kink that you were into.
Yeah, she's just as weird, so.
Yeah, so girl, and like you're over there, yeah, and then like the scene where they're at her mom's house and the mom puts the pillow between them and she's
Mhm.
like,
She's like, "You can use the guest room if you need to." And we're like,
he was like,
"Okay."
no. He's like, no, I'm gonna lay right here. I'm gonna lay right
Yes.
here. But I think it also touched on another thing that you talked about earlier was taking advantage of people who are lonely.
Mhm.
Like, if he was not in that space, I don't think he would have done it. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like, generally, when your life is happy, you don't want a huge shakeup. You're kind of like,
Right.
things are good. I think I'm not going to participate.
Right. Which is interesting. This is a similar theme to Twin Flames. Didn't even realize that until you said that. Because this is also another um, situation where they're taking advantage of lonely people.
Yeah, recruitment,
Yeah.
1,000%.
So I think if
And then,
I were to give it like a theme, I guess, wrap it up in a nutshell, like the whole movie was about not trying to die, but really it was teaching him how to live and grow.
yes, how to
So I
live
guess
every
that,
day like it's your last.
right. So I think that would be the overall theme I got from that.
And then I don't know if you remember this, but at the end, I thought it was so funny because he ended up winning the $1 million, but you saw how it was in a foreign currency.
Yes.
So
And
he's going to be paid $1 million over 12 years. And I think it equaled out to like 4,000 a month.
yes.
If you told me that, I would have been pissed.
Right.
Because now that, no, I'm not participating for 4,000 a month for people to
Hmm.
try to kill me. Absolutely not.
Hmm.
I'm not participating. But I was like, y'all put this man through hell.
Right.
And y'all are going to pay him over 12 years?
Right.
12 years a contestant. That's what this man became. 12 years a contestant. Okay?
Because he might not make it even the 12 years. Like, he might get $4,000 and that's it.
Hopefully he can pass it along to somebody else, put it in the will, who will receive his monthly salary after, if he were to pass. But yeah, that was crazy. I wasn't expecting that. But then I also thought at the end, like the way they kept dragging it, I'm like, there's no money. They played with this man. There's no money.
That's what I thought too.
I'm like, they're not going to give him anything. Because when he was like, all right, I won. I beat you guys can come out. You guys can come out. And like, nobody came out. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
damn. I'm like, he did all
Yeah.
this for nothing.
I really thought they were about to play with you. Actually, you know what I thought it was when I was watching it? You said you hadn't seen Fight Club, right?
No. Is that with Brad Pitt?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I've never seen it.
Gotcha. I was thinking it was going to be like Fight Club and he had made the whole thing up in his head.
Oh.
That's what it was starting to give towards the end. But then
Yeah,
they
it
all came
was.
out. Yeah, they all came out. But I was like thinking, like, dang, this man really was crazy this whole time. His family was right. this was all in his head. That's what I thought it was going to give.
Yes. And I liked the black guy that played his sister's husband. He was funny.
Yes, hilarious.
When he came with him to the bathroom, he's like, "You can't leave me."
He's right. He was trying to take a poop. He's like, he's right here. He's right here.
He was like, he's sitting down. Yeah, that was crazy.
I would have been so annoyed.
Me too. I would have like that's too far. You know what I mean? Like you said, when you're bringing up my dad coming in the bathroom, like that's just too far. Too far. Way too far. All right, Shani, take it away for our next movie.
Yes. So our next movie, again, like Leave the World Behind. I don't know what I expected this movie. I need to really do a little more research. But I just saw it on Netflix, The Kitchen. And I recognized the one character, Kano Robinson from Top Boy. But this is just the Google description, says, in a dystopian future, London, where all the social housing has been eliminated, Izzy and Benji fight to navigate the world as residents of the kitchen, a community that refuses to abandon their home. So yes, the main character was Kano, and then Benji is Jedediah Bannerman. So I did have to Google this after I watched it, just kind of to see the overall theme to make sure I was on the right track. So Izzy works at a place that's basically a funeral home, and they put people's bodies in like a tree, which is actually, I think, a cute idea, especially if
Me too.
you can't really, afford a big funeral, the casket, all of that, because that gets pricey.
Yeah.
So they become a tree, and you can come visit your person. He lives in the kitchen, which seems to be some type of, I don't want to say public housing, but they're trying to get rid of it. So they're like, the
kind of
police
seem
are
like the hood or like Section 8 kind of vibes, lower income.
Right. So the police are literally raiding this property, like kicking people out. So Izzy still lives in the kitchen, but he's been on the wait list for a long time for a 1-bedroom flat in a nicer area. So he's planning to move into this flat, and when he meets Benji, which was Benji confirmed to be his son?
I'm glad you asked, because I don't know, because he asked and he was like this. But then it also seemed like he was like, well, this he was like, would you like that? And then it's like, so are you or are you not?
Right.
Because he was at the funeral home, and I'm like, I know Izzy has seen many people come through there. So I didn't know the connection to this little boy. So I felt like it must have been, especially when he was like saying, you know, my mom said that you didn't love her, but you would have loved me.
Right.
So I was like.
And then I think they had mentioned him and his coworker, friend or colleague. He was like, oh, Tony, like that's the little boy's mom's name. So clearly there was some past.
Yeah, but then the coworker didn't make it make sense to me, because he was like, he made it seem like he didn't really know. Like, why are you so attached to the boy? Like, I don't know.
Right.
So maybe he didn't know that Tony had a kid. That's what I didn't know either. Like, did you know and you just chose to do what you wanted to do, or did you not know? That was interesting to me too.
Because Google basically was saying he was selfish, which I can get that. Like,
yes, 1,000%.
The kitchen was talking about, they can't destroy us as a we, but they can destroy us as an I. But definitely Izzy did what he needed to do for himself.
So. Yes. Especially when like he was going to like, they're like, put your deposit down for your 1-bedroom flat. He's like, would you like to do a 2-bedroom? And he like clicks the 2-bedroom, and they're like, okay, just forfeit your 1-bedroom so that you can, go on the list for the 2-bedroom, which I didn't even really understand why he didn't do that though, because he was miserable. Like, if you look at Izzy's character, he's so negative. He was like, oh, they're gonna take out the kitchen. Like, cause him and the coworker both lived in the kitchen. So it was like, oh, he's like, nah. And the guy was like, Izzy was like, they're gonna get rid of the kitchen. And the man's like, no, they would have been did it by now. Like, they're not gonna mess with the kitchen. So it was like, what did he have to live for?
Right.
Like, the most I saw him live was once the little boy came into his life. So it's like, why are you so pressed on this 1-bedroom flat?
But yeah, it was like he couldn't let go of that part of himself. Even though, like you said, with Benji, it was a whole new thing. It was just, nope, me, Isaac, I'm here for me. I need to get my commissions. I need this hood. Yeah.
And that's the irony, because he sat there and told Benji, if you keep hanging out with these guys, they're going to leave you. They're going to abandon you. And he did exactly that. Yeah. So my whole thing was like, why did you come into this boy's life and do all this stuff just to abandon him in the end?
Right.
Like, what? My heart broke on that scene because he felt it was coming. So he was like, I can cook, I can clean, I won't buy anything without asking.
No, I
I was like,
know.
oh my. And then, like, you know, Izzy just kept like saying, go to bed, go to bed. So then he's sitting there eating breakfast. Like everything's all good. And then he's like, you're not going to eat? And he's like, nah, I'm not hungry. And Benji's just still eating. He's moved on from last night. And then all of a sudden he realized the lady's trying to take his dad's plate, maybe dad. And he's like, no, leave it. And then hours are passing. And then he realized that he's been. So that, I was like, you're such a coward. Like you could have just told that boy, like, look, you can't come with me.
Right.
But you sat there, took him to breakfast, and then left him there. Can you imagine someone leaving you at an IHOP? Like, come on.
That's crazy. Yes, as a 14-year-old that already does not have no mom. Like, mom passed. Like, you know, I don't have anybody. And then the people that say they're going to be there for me, these street thugs, as you say,
as you would put
you're
them,
telling me not to be with them, but they're actually the only ones looking out for me. They're not
they
leaving
have my
me.
back.
So.
And are letting me come back and forth. Because even when he left to go be with Izzy, he ended up coming back. They gave him a pancake. Like, you know what I mean? It was always like love. And they're like, oh, you want this bike? Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. So that little boy, he was a really good actor. Let me see. Let me pull up his name.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, I did say it.
I know.
Jediah Brandman. But hopefully we see more from him.
Yes. And Izzy, tell me, does he not look like Jesse Williams?
Like they could be a cousin.
Brothers. I kept looking up like, this Jesse can't do no accent like that. I mean, I ain't seen him in a role like this. So I never seen Top Boy, so I didn't know that he was from that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, he looks just like Jesse Williams. I like had to look him up on like Grey's Anatomy because I couldn't think of his name.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
they do favor.
Jesse Williams.
Yes, they do favor. They definitely do. But I feel like Jesse, I think every role I've seen this man in, it's been kind of like a rough role. So maybe if like I see him in something else, you know, a little more refined, cleaned up, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. And then I just felt so bad too once Izzy had basically abandoned Benji, because then Benji had nothing to live for at that point. Lost his mom, like you said, lost his dad. So he became a product of his environment at that point.
Exactly.
He puts the mask on. He doesn't want to do it. But he's putting the mask on and he's riding the bike and they're breaking into people's homes.
People's homes, yeah.
Yep. And it just made me like have like a soft spot, because I feel like this movie personified, and this is I think what does like to my brain and heart, is this movie personified like men that I'll meet and that they don't have a dad. I assume that it's something similar to this. Like that they've gone through so much. So I have like this like, oh, I feel bad. Like you had nobody. Like that's a key thing to have. Like not having your dad is, I mean, a mom is just as crucial, but you know, as a boy, you really need your dad. And so this just really made me think about that. Like how many people are in these same predicaments where they have a mom, their dad is not present, and they get into these sort of things because they're looking for that leadership, looking for that to become a man, and they seek it out in like people in the neighborhood, and it's not always the best situation or scenario.
Right. But yeah. Overall, I did enjoy the movie. It did, like, you know, I don't know, just like you said, seeing like a young Black man, it pulled at my heartstrings as well. But, and then at the end, when the like police busted in, it kind of left that. I assume that was the police.
We don't know. Yeah, that part too, where he was like, he kept like the little boy kept turning his body, and he was like, no, like just holding him, like. So we don't know if they died or if they ended up making it through.
Right. And
but even when go ahead. You go.
Okay. So even Google, like when I told you I looked it up, they were saying like it could either be the police or it could finally be the residents of the kitchen turning on Izzy, because you know they were already didn't like him because of how he treated them, like in the shower at the beginning. So they were saying like it might have came full circle, and they're like, all right, since we all raiding and doing all this, we about to just get Izzy too while we out here.
I would have never thought of that, but that definitely makes sense, because he did take that long shower. And that was cool though, how they had like the messages on your mirror. That was dope.
It was I
would love to wake up and just
it was so
swiping.
weird, because it's like I guess still because it technically was a hood, but I felt like it was so like such a contrast with it being so high tech in some places. Like his mirror
Yes.
is so high tech, but yet he's in this like dorm room
Right.
shower. So
And then another thing that I noticed is if you remember the scene where he comes back to get Benji, I don't know. I needed more from him. Like, I mean, yes, he gave Benji his mom, which I thought was very sweet. So like,
yes,
but leading up to that, he just was quiet. Like,
yeah,
sir, I need a whole monologue. You left your son. You should be crying on your knees. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But he just was like, just nonchalant.
yeah,
I'm like, sir. And then that also pissed me off because it took like him seeing Kitchen, the host of the radio host of the Kitchen,
yeah,
in the casket, and him crying. I'm like, so that made you cry, but you abandoned your son didn't make you cry?
right,
Where you basically left him for dead. That's essentially what you did.
right,
You left him for dead.
right.
Like, why would you didn't need to see Kitchen, the radio host, in the casket to give a damn about your son? Like that blew me. I'm like, why does it always take like such an extreme thing to happen or occurrence for people to realize what is valuable or what means something in this world? I don't understand that.
Right.
I didn't like him. Izzy pissed me off.
Yeah. He was not a likable character at all.
Yeah, he wasn't, and he played the hell out of it because I did not like him.
Yes.
He was literally pissing me off.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on The Kitchen before we move on to The Bear?
What would you rate it out of 10?
Oh, 7.5. 7 to a 7.5.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. About a 7. 7.
I'm glad that Daniel Kaluuya directed, like, this I think was his first. It probably wasn't his first. A lot of these actors do so many things that we don't see. So many, they're a part of so many projects. But I thought he did good for this to be like his first Netflix film that was directed. It may be not, I don't know, I didn't do extensive research, but I was really happy for him. Like, this is a good way, because sometimes an actor will do it and you're like, stick to acting. Stick to acting.
Right.
But no, I thought it was really good. It was really good. And I'm glad he gave back to where he's from.
Right.
So it was everybody. Is he from the UK?
Yeah.
So I love that it was UK based. I love that because I think it's very important to give back. And I remember when we went to ABFF, that was one of the questions that they had for Spencer. I forget his real name.
Ezra.
But Ezra.
I can't remember his last name, but Ezra.
Yes. But one lady asked him, like, are you gonna, do some projects back in London, bruv?
Right.
So I thought that was, really cool because I think once you do get to that status, you should give back and you should bring more attention to where you're from and things like that. Right. Because there is like Top Boy. Like, I don't watch Top Boy, but I know it's very popular. Like, I know a lot of people really, really love it. So give us a little background on The Bear, Shawners, before we hop into it.
So our last Plot and Pop pick was The Bear, which is a series, and we just chose to do season 1, and then next week we'll follow up with season 2. And the description is Carmi, a young fine dining chef, comes home to Chicago to run his family's sandwich shop. As he fights to transform the shop in himself, he works alongside a rough, around-the-edges crew that ultimately reveals themselves as chosen family. I really enjoyed the show. After watching the first 2 episodes, I was like, all right, I can see how it won. Because everything that it's won as far as like the Emmys, Best Supporting Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Lead Actor, Outstanding Comedy Series, and Golden Globes, it basically won the same kind of similar awards. I thought it was interesting. I think the show came out in 2022, but I know in the Emmys, they emphasized this was the 25th anniversary of The Sopranos. And I think it's interesting how they're both Italian shows where the main character suffers from like anxiety because of the family business. I thought
I never made that connection.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought that
That's
was
cool.
very, very interesting, and both very good shows. Overall, I don't know. I just really enjoyed the show. Carmi definitely was a lovable character.
Yes. played by Jeremy Allen White, and he's in. People were saying he's in Shameless. I've never watched Shameless, but he's from
Oh,
Shameless.
okay. I think I've seen a couple episodes. I have to go back.
Yeah, but Carmi was very lovable. He played the hell out of
Mm-hmm.
that character for sure.
Yes.
And the girl that you were saying that was you saw her first on Abbott
Mm-hmm.
Elementary, Ayo
Yeah.
Edeberry,
Mm-hmm.
played by Sydney,
Mm-hmm. I
and then
really
the
like her
cousin,
too. Yes, because we all got a crazy cousin who is all over the place, whether they're our blood
1,000%.
or not. But what I found really interesting about Sydney, she was awkward. She had this like kind of awkward demeanor, but that didn't keep her from asserting herself and articulating her
Yes,
needs, which you would
1,000%.
think having that type of character, she would be a little more bashful, especially when it came to Tina, the other cook.
Yes, Tina
But
was really trying her. Like that was, ooh.
yes.
Sydney has more patience than me because I would have been like, look, this is exactly what people talk about how it's women against women, and she can have it because I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna do it. Like Tina was so disrespectful. She would tell her to do something, she wouldn't do it. But eventually, Tina was basically like, she came around. Like
Mm-hmm.
Tina eventually came around, started taking the business seriously, wore the uniform, but was very resistant. So,
Right.
would you say Sydney was your favorite? Who was your favorite character?
I think it would still be Carmi.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think still Carmi. What about you?
So, a favorite, I don't know who my favorite is, but who I loved, like who kind of like really grew on me and was Marcus,
Yes.
who bakes the cakes and does the desserts.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed Marcus. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I loved his character. I loved his
Mm-hmm.
character, how he looked up to both Sydney and Carmi.
Mm-hmm.
And then even as you see towards the end of the first season, they like became close. And I'm wondering if in season 2 or in the future seasons that becomes a romantic relationship,
Right.
Marcus and Sydney.
Because I peeped, like, I'm like, he likes her. Like,
Yes.
when he kept offering, like, you need help with that, like, you could tell,
Yeah.
like, he liked her. I didn't really see the mutual. So I was actually
Yeah, me
surprised.
either. That she
Yeah.
asked him to come over to her house for
Hmm.
dinner. Yeah, I was surprised by that too.
Right.
But yeah, but I also liked Marcus's demeanor. Like I understood Sydney, like when she got to her boiling point with this up and coming, well, the restaurant needing so much work and quitting and just being over it.
Hmm.
But I liked that, like, Marcus kind of had a different approach. Like, yeah, I'm going to just go back to work tomorrow and we'll figure it out. Where
Right.
he was less emotional and less reactive than
Hmm.
Sydney was, but also Sydney had a lot more on her plate.
Right.
And I hate that that's the thing of like, Carmen was like, I have higher expectations of you. Like, that's not fair. Like, you need to have high expectations of everybody. You need to be talking to Tina
Hmm.
and, everyone else that works here too. But
Right.
he looked at Sydney like, I have higher expectations of you, so I expect you to do this. And I feel like that has happened a lot in the workplace where
Hmm.
people will excuse other people's behavior, but they'll be like, I didn't expect that of you though. Like,
Right.
no, we need to all be held to the same standard.
Exactly. I feel like that's the same way. It's like workplace, relationships. I feel like that's across the board, something that could happen.
Yes, I agree 1,000%.
Hmm.
Were there any themes or messages that you picked up from the movie?
Um, really, mental health, especially in men, like, because Carmi really was going through it. And clearly, I mean, even mental health as far as how he got in the position that he was in because his brother committed suicide.
Yeah.
So, like, he needed to work things out. Richie needed to work things out. Like,
Yes.
everybody just needed, shoot, the sister too. Everybody just needs to go to therapy. Like, all of them
Yes.
just need to go to a big family therapy group session.
A
Um,
1,000%.
I think I thought it was funny how they mentioned about like earlier in the season they said something about when the restaurant is on fire. It's a split second that you're looking at the fire, thinking all this shit can burn down, but it'll also take my anxiety with it. And then it came back again at the end, the last episode, when Carmi accidentally set the shop on fire. And he was
Hmm.
just standing there, and I'm sure that's probably what was going in his head. Like, we broke. We ain't even got beef today. We're literally called the beef, and we have no beef. They delivered pork to my shop.
Right. He's like, I don't do pork. I
Right.
was like, go, Carmi. I don't do the pork either.
Right. So he's like looking at it, probably thinking like, I should just probably let this place burn down. And he did nothing, and they had to come in and stop it. So I really hope with them finding all of that money in those sauce
Yes.
cans,
Yes, and the tomatoes.
probably all the money he owed that man, like
Yes.
I hope going into next season, which we'll find out next week, that helps relieve a lot of Carmi's issues because
I hope
now
so
he can
too.
really just focus on making the restaurant, what he wants it to be. Because he doesn't have to worry about finances. He can pay off everybody. He don't have to keep doing these little birthday parties and these bachelor parties
Bachelor parties,
that
right.
end up being more trouble than they are worth.
Yes.
Richie in each event just the Xanax and the fruit punch,
Yes.
then him almost having a manslaughter charge.
Yes.
Like,
I thought the man was dead. When as soon as his head hit it, I was like, he's dead.
yes.
And I thought and I wasn't paying attention to what episode I was on. I was like, oh, that's the end. We'll see next season on season 2. I thought that was
Mm-hmm.
like their big cliffhanger. But I couldn't believe that. I was like, but I did start to actually, because I would say he was my least favorite. Like, he was
Richie?
really pissing me off. Yes.
Yeah.
But I also loved him at that point because it was like he did that for Carmi because Carmi was getting his ass handed to him, which I
Mm-hmm.
also didn't understand because I felt like when Cousin and Carmi were fighting, Cousin
Mm-hmm.
wasn't winning. When they were
Right.
like, after he put the t-shirt, trying to put the t-shirt on the hot
Yes.
dog. So I'm like, well, maybe I feel like Cousin or Richard was just like, I don't want to, like, I'm never going to really hurt you. Like, yeah, we might beat each
Right.
other up or I might get on to you, but like, I'm always going to have
Right.
your back. I love you. You're like family. And I never realized that he wasn't actually really their cousin. And that just goes to show you that you really do have people in your life that like you make friends with that become
Mm-hmm.
family, that are like your sisters, and you don't have any blood relation. And it
Right.
happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was I did really like it. In the beginning, I thought to myself, this is a good show, but it wasn't like, oh my god, I want to see what happens next. But once I got to the end, it was very easy to get through like the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I kept kind of stopping and pausing in the beginning, at least for the first 3. When it
Right.
got to like about 5 to 8 or 4 to 8, I was really locked in. I'm like, okay, this is really good. Now
Mm-hmm.
I see why it got all the accolades and it deserved
Right.
every bit of them.
Right.
And it touched on ego to me a lot too. Like,
Oh
everyone had
yeah.
to put their ego aside. Even Carmi, like,
Mm-hmm.
you're delegating all these tasks, but people have other things they want to contribute to the restaurant, and you have to put your ego aside to know that just because you came from fine dining, like Sydney had a great dish with the risotto that got talked about in the paper. So it's like, it's
Mm-hmm.
not ready. Yes, it is ready. Like, it is ready. And
Right.
then the fact that like he was like, are those cakes ready? Are those cakes ready? And he's still working on the donut. And then
Mm-hmm.
he ends up slapping the donut and he's like, can you try it? I do think Marcus asked him at a really bad time. Like,
Yeah.
the place
Marcus,
is on fire and you asking about this damn donut.
it was like I really liked his character, but I felt like he had like no concept of he had no sense of urgency. Definitely had no sense of
Oh
urgency.
no.
But it's like I don't want to say like he was socially because he wasn't, but like he literally, like you said, it's just the wrong time. Like, how can you not recognize this
Yeah, he
is
doesn't have
not the time?
awareness.
Yes,
He lacks
exactly.
awareness.
Yes, like this is not the time because he probably would have been very receptive because he tried it, of course, off the floor. It seems like everybody tried that
Mm-hmm.
donut off the floor. Him, Sydney,
Yep, everybody.
whatever. Yeah, that's disgusting. But
It
yeah,
is.
and he enjoyed it. So yeah, I think Marcus did that to himself that day. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
me too. Me too. Because I'm like, Marcus, you already know the machine is printing out 80 something pre-orders, and you're going to ask them to taste the donut, and half of the orders are 80 cakes.
And you don't have any of the cakes cut.
And they're not sliced. Right. Like, Marcus, what?
Yeah.
But I even liked that it showed, that you kind of go to things when you're ready. Like Carmi finally going to an AA meeting
Mm-hmm.
because his brother struggled with, opioid abuse,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't even know it. And so I think what also it touched on was like, you have to not always think about yourself. And I feel like Carmi was very kind of self-centered in a way. Like, his problems weighed higher than everybody else's around him. And I think he realized, like, when his brother cut him off or wouldn't make him a part of the restaurant, he's like, that's okay. I'm going to go to Chicago. I'm going to become the best chef. I'm going to work at the best places, basically as an FU. Like, I'm going to show you. And it just goes to show that, like, you can put things aside. Because I feel like even after he was like, oh, I'm going to show you, I'm going to do all this, the brother still left the restaurant to his little brother. He didn't leave
Right.
it to Richard. He left
Right.
it to his brother. So it just goes to show that no matter what you go through for family, family's always going to be there no matter what you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was interesting because he brought that up in the first episode. Like, he didn't leave you the restaurant. He left it to me. So clearly the way you were doing it wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
But I really just loved how they all came together, how they all grew. And like the final scene of the season was like them closing and saying, the beef is closing. Thank you for your patronage. We're going to reopen again as the Bear.
Right. And I was always wondering when the bear would come up because I'm like, why the bear? But then I realized they called him the Bear because the last name Berzotto.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I'm excited about season 2.
Me too. I really am too.
Yeah. So we will definitely be discussing that next week, guys.
Yes, we will. So you guys, if you haven't, catch up. It's fine. They're like 30-minute episodes, so just run through them.
Very short. So.
And then moving into our reaction to each other's episode that we had each other watch. Yes. You watched American Horror Stories, Season 3, Episode 3, Tapeworm.
Yes.
I need to know your thoughts, because when I watched it, so I want to hear what you think after watching Tapeworm.
Okay, so for those of you who have not seen that episode, it is about a young lady, very beautiful Black young lady that moved from Iowa to New York. Vivian was her name, to become a model. So she goes to the audition and they love her, but they say that she is too fat. Mind you, she's like a 4 and they need her to be a 2 or smaller. So it seems like it's the equivalent of Ozempic. She gets on this thing called Mondify and she's losing weight. And I think she books the job, yes. But she has a heart murmur, so she can't continue to take the Mondify or she'll basically die. So she takes a tapeworm. And
legit tapeworm, y'all. Like literally, it's moving.
Yes. It's very small. It's about the size of a pill when she takes it. And the underground doctor, I guess he's underground. I don't know. He was doing a lot of shady stuff. But he tells her, don't feed it. Like, you're going to be hungry, but don't eat because it'll grow. Like, eat normally how you normally would. And of course, she doesn't listen. So she's literally at buffets. Fried chicken, burgers, chili cheese dog at a model, eating. But she, of course, is losing weight because she's not feeding her body. She's feeding this tapeworm. She finally books Vogue, and she's too skinny for Vogue. Like, she makes it to her goal. Yeah, she makes it to her goal, and they're like, "There's no body left. You've lost 5 pounds since we fit you for this dress." Like, so. The tapeworm also alters her personality. It like makes her crazy. Like, she's really a sweet girl, but she's like being very bitchy to everyone, strangers, her roommates, all those people. So she goes to get the tapeworm out of her. She takes like the serum and she essentially has to poop out this tapeworm. She pulls it out. It kills her, and then it takes the body of her roommate and it goes off. My reaction to it, it's far-fetched, but I feel like it's not realistic at the same time.
Yeah.
It's not unrealistic at the same time.
Yeah. Like, people go through extreme lengths to be skinny.
Right. And we already know people use Ozempic to lose weight. So that was definitely spot on. And I feel like some of these people, I mean, if they were given the opportunity to take a tapeworm, they would.
Yes, I thought that too. I was like, you know what? They really touched something, because everyone's always like, whenever you eat, they're like, what do you have? A tapeworm? Like, that's a normal saying. It's like, what's going on? Like, you're eating so much. And I'm like, I think there are people who want to be skinny that bad. And that's when I realized, like, as much as I say I want to be skinny, I will never not eat.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I just can't. Like, I am changing my diet here and there, trying to cut some carbs, but I don't know how people, like, I don't know how one can, like, obsess. I mean, clearly sometimes it's a mental condition to be so skinny, to be so skinny. And it also showed how I'm sure some places it is still like this, but showed the evolution of modeling. Because I remember those days where you had to be like a 0. Like, what we saw, we didn't see BBLs. Right. You didn't see Kim on things like that. You didn't see them doing high fashion modeling because you had to be a stick. Because from what I heard, the reason why they wanted you so skinny was because they wanted you to see how it would look on a hanger. That is so sick.
Yeah.
That is so sick. Like, has anyone ever seen a hanger? It's nothing but bone. Metal and bone. So I thought it was crazy. When I watched it, my stomach literally did a backflip when she pulled it out.
That was the part
And
too. I literally
oh
was
my
sitting here,
gosh.
like I was expecting it to be a little more like gross, I guess. Like I
Yeah.
was expecting to hear a bunch of, I don't
Yeah,
know,
like liquid and yeah, some definite things
bone
going
cracking or
on.
anything. Like, yeah,
Right. Yeah.
because you never know with American Horror Story. You never
No,
know.
you don't, because they always push the line and they push the
Hmm.
limit. And they do a good
Hmm.
job of doing that though. So I'm not mad when they push the story. So
Hmm. But yes, it was definitely a good recommendation. Definitely a good recommendation.
thank you.
So yours, Atlanta, Crank That Killer.
Yes. So that was, I watched season 4 of Atlanta, episode 6, the Crank That Killer.
Hmm.
So y'all know I love Soldier Boy. So of course I was really excited to watch this. Soldier Boy's in it for all of 1 minute. Um,
His
all
part's a
of
lot of
1
cute,
minute.
but yes.
He really did his part. He was packing up. He was ready to go.
Yes.
So basically the premise of this is, so I've never watched Atlanta before, but of course, as you guys know, Lakeith Stanfield is in it and Childish Gambino. So when I'm watching it, I don't know if, are they family or just friends?
They're just
Lakeith
friends.
and,
Yeah.
okay. So Lakeith and Childish Gambino are friends and they basically help manage their friend who's a rapper.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
And
so
so,
Paperboy is actually Childish Gambino's cousin. So they are
oh,
cousins.
okay. So Childish Gambino and Paperboy are cousins.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And Paperboy is a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
And they're over here talking about all these different things. And it starts off with like him watching TV, which I thought was cool, where he's like watching TV and he can't find the channel he's looking for. I swear that's me all the time. I'll be on the remote and I got 2 remotes. One you can talk to, one you can't.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're basically like, who even has cable anymore? Which people tell me all the time. And they're like, if you want to know who's canceled, Twitter. If you want to know like Black culture, Shade Room.
Yes.
You want to know who died? TMZ.
Yes.
So basically it just shows the 2 things that they're looking for. And then like, as they're talking about that, they also are mentioning like, oh, did you hear that there's a guy going around killing people who make Crank That videos? And everybody knows that when Crank That came out, everybody
Right.
was doing a Crank That video. Like there was Crank That everything. They started making Crank That's for every Crank That Batman, Crank That everything. Everything was a Crank That. So basically the whole show is basically like him trying not to be killed by the Crank That Killer is what Paperboy's doing. But Childish Gambino and Lakeith are trying to get their hands on these rare Nikes. So they're like doing 2 different things at one time, but I really liked that because it kept me engaged. So basically they both ended up being at the mall, but didn't know they were at the mall.
Same mall, right.
And so he's at the mall. I forgot what he went to the mall for. He was like kind of, because he heard something in his house. So he heard something in his house. So he was like, yeah, nah, F that, I'm out. So he puts on a hat and goes to the mall. And he gets a pretzel. And they're like, you're not low. Like we all know it's Paperboy. So they're like, basically it gets spread around the mall that, Paperboy's at the mall. So then he's like, let me leave the mall. So he literally goes outside of the mall, sits on a bench and is eating a pretzel. And this guy that I guess he knew from high school who had beef with him pulls up in a car, but in the car you hear the GPS like, you have reached your final destination. So I don't know if it went viral on Twitter that Paperboy was at the mall.
Right.
So then the guy comes out and like you can see he's angry. So he's like walking towards him and then he's like, yeah, he clearly realizes he's after me. So he starts running. Then this man sees him at a shop. He's like he's at like one of those little shops in the mall, which I believe I've been to that mall in Atlanta. And it looks very much like that. It's like it looks like how it looked on that show, y'all. Like it's very much, it's crazy. Like I don't want to say crazy, but it doesn't look like your renovated kind of mall. So, and the food court looks like an old school food court. So he's at the store and all of a sudden he sees the guy and the guy pulls a gun and shoots. And then it's like a freaking shootout in the mall. It's like 3 or 4 people just opening fire in the Atlanta mall.
Everybody got a gun in his house.
1,000%. So then they're like having a whole shootout. He's like trying to, like protect himself. He's running. He's hiding behind things. Meanwhile, while that is occurring in the mall, Childish Gambino and Lakeith are in a van where this man sells like any sneaker you can think of in the van. So they get in the van and they're like, okay, we heard you got the shoes. How much? He was like, I just want to see y'all kiss. Mind you, this is a black man telling 2 other black men that are straight, we want to see you kiss. And then you have like the Lakeith, who's got like the blonde hair, who you would think, probably could be down for that, which he was. He was ready to do the kiss. And Childish was like, let's think about this, bro. Like, it's not worth our dignity and to put our principles to the side to kiss when that's not how we move, just for some shoes.
Right.
And he was saying how Black people put so much emphasis on monetary things.
Mm-hmm.
And so they come to the conclusion like, okay, hey, we'll do the kiss. So they're like, okay, he's like tongue. And they're like, man, nah, you said a kiss. Like, we're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So then they agree upon 3-second kiss. So they go ahead and go into kiss. And literally 1 second into the kiss, the man who drives the van gets shot. Because once again, this shootout in the mall has now been a shootout
carried
outside.
over into the parking lot. Yes.
And so they're over here counting. They don't even realize that he's been shot. And they're counting, literally did the whole kiss. They're counting. And then they wake up and they see that he's dead. And it's like, they think to themselves like, damn, we didn't even have to do this because this man ended up dying. But they end up taking them shoes and going.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, Paperboy is still like, this guy is on him, shooting, trying to get him. And what I forget to mention with Paperboy being a rapper is he goes to the studio. And you know how like Paperboy is kind of like how I would say, like Lil Wayne is the best way to describe it. And then like there's this rapper that's like Lil B.
Mm-hmm.
Like cook it, just kind of offbeat. He's that kind of rapper who's dying to always do a song with Paperboy. And so he comes into the studio and Paperboy literally does not want to record with him so bad that he pours like a drink all over the sound station.
That was
and it
crazy.
starts like popping and lights and electric. And he comes in, he's like, oh, you in the studio, Paperboy, we gotta get a song. And Paperboy was like, damn, bro, system's fried. He was like, that's right, we just recorded that. The mics are down too. Like he's just like, everything's down. So as Paperboy, fast forwarding back to the mall, is having this shootout, the guy that's in the car literally opens up his door and is like, get up, get in, Paperboy. So Paperboy gets in and he was like, man, and Paperboy's like, man, you saved my life. Like, man, like, thank you so much. And he was like, yeah, man, like, it's no problem. Like, you know what? Let's go to the studio and make a track. So Paperboy ends up having to make a song with the rapper that he literally despises, does not like his music, and would not make music with him otherwise. But he realizes like, this man saved my life. I can't say no.
Right.
So then the episode ends with them basically playing the song. They're like, what the hell is this? Like, what the hell is this? And he was like, man, yeah, I don't know what it is either. I don't know what it is either. And I feel like some artists have gotten on features because either their label has made them and people they would never have usually normally worked with. So I thought that was funny. And then also I thought it was funny that when they showed who the Crank Dat Killer was, it wasn't even the guy that he had beef with from high school that was trying to kill him.
Right. It was
so then I was, so he wasn't even getting killed for doing that Crank Dat video all the way back in 2007 or whatever time frame it was. It was literally a guy who held on to beef for so long that saw him and was like, oh yeah, I caught him slipping, I'm about to get him now. But it was good. It kept me entertained the whole way through. And for it to be like a short 30 minutes, like it was really good. Like I would watch Atlanta. Like I thought it was funny. I liked the different jokes and things and shade they kind of threw in the midst of it all. And it was a very good choice because I've heard people talk about Atlanta, but because I heard there was like one season, it took forever for the second season to come, that people didn't even know if there was going to be a second season. So I really liked it. Now, question, did Childish Gambino do Swarm?
Yes. I don't think he was acting. I haven't seen it.
That one was very weird. I couldn't make it through.
Really?
I couldn't make it through. You watched the whole thing?
No, I haven't seen it at all.
Oh, it's crazy. It's about like people obsessing over Beyonce. Like how the length.
I was like,
it is. They can say that it's not, but it is. Because it's from the person's from Texas, but it's not Beyonce, but the singer's from Texas. And I know Beyonce, they cleared it with her. Like I don't personally know Beyonce, but I know they cleared it because I know Beyonce's not going to let that be. Like, yeah, I know that they asked her and we're like, hey, we want to make something about like a fan being obsessed. And it was crazy and weird. And I was like, yeah. But Childish Gambino's very creative. Like I love that he also can act, direct, write, rap. And even his raps are different than your traditional rappers. So it doesn't surprise me that that he did so well in this role. So yes, very good recommendations. I think we'll pick it up and do like every other episode because I don't have a recommendation for you for next week.
And I don't either. I just literally was thinking in my head, like, dang, was I supposed to fix something else for her?
Yeah. So let's just do every other. So we'll do the next, the episode after next. We'll tell each other what we want each other to watch. So moving on to giving them some info about next week, I'll let you go ahead and take it over.
Yes. Okay. So next week we will actually, I know we've been reminding you guys about Watch Your Shelf. So I finished the book. So we are going to discuss the book and the show. Of course, if you haven't read the book, it's okay. But the show and the book are both the same name, Fool Me Once, on Netflix, limited series. I think 8 episodes. Don't quote me.
I think so too.
Hopefully you guys, I know a lot of people have already watched the show. So if not, hopefully you have time. If not, you still can listen. We also have Rustin on Netflix, which is up for an Oscar, and The Bear Season 2, which is streaming on Hulu.
And then go ahead and tell them about next month's for February so they can start reading for those who have finished reading the book, what they're going to read next.
Yes. Okay. So next month in February, we will be reading The Expatriates. I can't even say that word. I'm sorry.
I looked it up on Google, girl, and it's just expatriates. Isn't that crazy? The expatriates. That's all that is. I would say expatriates. I didn't know what it was either. But I went on Google and looked up expatriate and clicked the thing for pronunciation, and it literally says expatriate. So the expatriates.
That makes sense. Expatriates. Okay. And then the show is called Expats. And it's basically a look at the personal and professional lives of a tight-knit group of expatriates living in London. And where is expats?
No, in Hong Kong, girl. In Hong Kong.
Why did I say London? I'm literally looking at it say Hong Kong. London on my mind. Okay, Lord. They live in Hong Kong. I don't know. I'm literally looking at Hong Kong and said London.
The kitchen on your mind. I don't know.
Yep. I'm still thinking about the kitchen. Anyway, but where is Expats streaming? Or is that
It's on Prime. So it is on Prime and it actually drops tomorrow. So when this episode airs, it'll be live. It will be dropping at 7 though. So you guys will see this episode at 12. It drops at 7 on Prime. So for those who don't want to do the reading thing, it's got Nicole Kidman in it. And it also has another actress that's very popular. I can't remember her name though, but when you see her face, you guys will know. But Nicole Kidman is in it. And the trailer looks really good. So we'll also post that, like once the episode airs later in the week, we'll post the trailer so you guys can see. We'll post the books. So you guys know what to look out for. But yeah,
and
we're moving along, guys.
Count as books, like
yes, audiobooks count. Yeah. We do audiobooks too, y'all. Don't think we're just sitting here flipping the pages.
Yeah,
we do audiobooks because we realize you guys are everyday working people just like us. So we understand that takes a lot out of your day to sit and read a book that might be 300 pages. So yes, audiobooks count. Put it on while you go to work, while you're coming home from work, while you're in the shower, while you're getting ready in the morning, and just listen and let it play out.
Yeah. So
I think that's it.
Yes.
That's all we have. So guys, till next time, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.